It's another Tuesday morning. Welcome to Deb's Grill. Without wasting much time, let's dive into our discussion for today. Parliament has approved 250,000 for each member of parliament through the Ghana Education Trust Fund to support education-related projects in their constituencies. An additional 150,000 has been allocated to each member of parliament for monitoring and supervision of this project, bringing the total to 400,000 per a member of parliament. So which means that each member of parliament will be taking 400,000 to help in solving problems that has to do with our education system, or that is constituted to our education system. So the funds are intended to finance projects such as construction, renovation of schools, provision of educational materials, and other initiatives aimed at enhancing learning conditions across various communities. Now, you know that when it comes to education in Ghana, someone will say we are doing well. Well, you might say we are doing well, but I feel like we have a lot to do when it comes to our education or our educational system. You will go to schools where they do not even have chairs for the students to sit on and learn. Some of these students are learning under dilapidated roofs. Their buildings are so bad that it can go off anytime and at any day. And the students risk their lives to sit under this classroom to study. And I believe you and I were taught that to grab something in class is not only about you coming to class to learn, but as well a conducive environment also counts. Because in an environment where you have to sit on the floor for the teacher to teach, sitting in a classroom that is not even built with blocks, a classroom that is built with sticks and leaves, and anytime it's cloudy, you have to go home because it will distort, teaching. And so when I saw this yesterday, I was happy. But then I keep thinking about this again. We know our people. Are they going to use this money for the intended purposes? Because each member of parliament is taking 400,000. And this is a lot to help, solve all these problems. And I'm saying this because we've seen things like this happening before, where funds are being given to member of parliament to solve issues in their constituencies, and it's not being done. And you see, they were not only given this money, an additional 150,000 was given to them for supervision on that particular work, which means that as the project is going on, they have to employ someone who will supervise the work and pay that person 150,000. And we all know that is so common in this country. A project is going on and we don't even supervise. Sometimes we even supervise, but we don't give the right record. This money to our members of parliament, this money should be used for its intended purpose. This 400,000 is not meant for your stomach. It's not meant for yourself and your family. It's meant for the educational system, because we want our educational system to improve. We are lacking behind. See, if you go to some places in this country, you cry. And because some of these students are determined enough to become somebody in future, they don't really pay attention to this because they want to learn and become someone in future. And parents who are not educated enough discourages the student from going to school, because how can you go to school today? It rains, you come back home, the next day the sun is too scotchy and they have to break classes. So if the government has thought it wise that is going to allocate a fund of 400,000 per a member of parliament, see, we are going to hold you accountable. We are not going just to sit down and then keep quiet. This money should be used for its intended purposes. And trust me, any member of parliament that is going to use this money for his own personal gains, we are going to sit here and then we will make sure that it's either you vomit that money and use it for its intended purposes. We have to change. The president is saying he wants to reset the country. And I believe it's also a means of resetting our educational system. That past behavior of being so selfish that when the money comes, we spend it alone. And see, as long as you are using that money to, make sure that the education in your community or the schools in your community are built very well, there is one thing I'm also requesting. No member of parliament should send his or her words out to school outside. If truly they want to change the system we have, they should allow their words study in that same class. Because if your words is studying in that same class and still the condition is very poor, you as a parent, you understand. But when we allow them to fly their walls outside to school there, how are they going to feel your pain? So to our members of parliament, use the money for its intended purpose. And that is what it's meant for. Not for your pocket. Not for groceries. Not for other things that do not matter. And please, I think this work should be thoroughly supervised and ensure that these members of parliament are using the money accordingly and not according from. They should use it according to the purpose it's intended for. If not, then trust me, you are not just taking this money and taking it just like that. We are watching you and we will ensure that you use the money. And if you don't use it, then we will see, because you will have to be transparent and accountable. Thanks for joining me on The Biz Grill.